All right, well, that's it for morning announcements, and we're going to move over to our segment, the Round Table. And today, the Round Table discussion is going to be a little different. We're going to discuss the game industry reactions to the George Floyd killing and protests. I know it's a what is that word? I am bad with this.
Heavy.
Touchy,
Yeah.
yeah, heavy, touchy subject.
Yeah.
But we're gonna keep it game related. Let's start with Jeremy. What do you got for us?
So I'm going to try to keep it as game industry related as possible. But obviously, I believe it was May 25th is when
Yes.
May 25th is when George Floyd was murdered. And so because of that protest and everything, there was an outbreak. It had continued on throughout the week. Um, and then all of a sudden, I believe it began Friday, and through the weekend, we got these different messages and reactions from video game industries, developers, different stuff like that. We stand in solidarity, all these cookie cutter
Kudos to
messages.
PlayStation once again.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take a peculiar take on this in regards to that. I think all of this thing is just principally motivated by capitalism and by money. And so, what I would like to see personally is these companies that have pledged something, if they've actually pledged or decided to reach out and do something, to actually have plan of actions, and those plan of actions actually be something that's quantifiable, because a lot of the time they aren't. So let's look at some of the companies that have actually said some stuff. So Sony made a statement, and then just recently, when they said they were going to reset their PS5 reveal event to June 11th, which happens to be today, they also promised to donate $1 million to Black causes. That's great. I would like to know the 1 million. Where is it going? When is it going there? When do you believe this initiative will be complete? What type of metrics or data do you have of which to make you believe that this initiative you've started is actually completed? Because usually the mix-up happens is both in regards to how companies handle this, as well as how people within these civil rights movements happen, is that somewhere along the line we get more mixed up in optics rather than outcomes and objectives. And those things need to be measurable. We need to have those things measurable. So I would like to know that. Microsoft, the same thing. They made a statement saying they're in solidarity, but the money I don't think was really anything they talked about. But they have a criminal justice reform initiative. They started back in 2014, where they actually use, I believe, some of their cloud storage data processing to actually track instances of police violence and be able to turn over more precise information as to when those are happening, how it happens, the frequency of it, and everything like that. You have Electronic Arts, a company that most gamers generally hate. They are contributing $1 million to the Equal Justice Initiative and the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and they're double matching what anyone in their company donates to those organizations through their Your Cause program. They're also doing other measures, extra paid day off for volunteering on June 19th, which is referred to obviously as Juneteenth Day. So that's cool. Again, I would like to see what that initiative looks like, how that money is being dispersed. When is it being dispersed? Is this $1 million just now, lump sum? Is it over a certain period of time? And what metrics are you measuring in order to say this is a job done? Because newsflash, $1 million just all of a sudden in a bucket doesn't help fix systemic racism. Just like mass donations and throwing ice on your head doesn't cure ALS. It is something you have to repeatedly do and make a repeated, consistent effort to make sure you're having things that are quantified. So again, other companies, Ubisoft, Square Enix, Riot Games, Capcom, Bungie, these are all the companies that have said they're going to donate different things to NAACP, Black Lives Matters. The one company that actually surprised me the most that I'm happy with is Niantic, who makes Pokemon Go. They said that they're going to donate half or a minimum of the $5 million they raised from the sale of their Pokemon Go Fest 2020 tickets to fund projects for Black gaming and augmented reality developers that can live on their platform. And another half of it will go to help nonprofits build local communities or rebuild local communities. They will also donate 100,000 to the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, which is great, and they're also matching employee contributions up to 50,000. And they're starting diversity initiatives in their workforce. That's a whole lot done. So that stuff is great, but again, I have to question how motivated they would be to do these things if there weren't money involved. So like Warner Bros, they made a statement, they didn't put out a plan. Nintendo of America, they made a statement, didn't put out a plan. Epic Games, they decided, well, you know what? We're gonna let voices that need to be heard. So we're gonna delay Fortnite Season 3 launch. Okay, thanks. Really appreciate that. Take-Two didn't make a statement. Rockstar decided, you know what? We really need to listen to people. So we're going to go ahead and make sure GTA Online and Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, that we take them down for a couple hours, because this whole thing, I feel like we can get it sorted out in a couple hours or really get some voices amplified in a couple hours. So let's take it down from 2 to 4. They took it down long enough to where if you were playing it and you took a lunch and came back, you wouldn't know it was down. I don't know how well that is as far as making a statement of solidarity with systemic racism, with police brutality. It all really feels vapid, even though there's doing these things. It really seems like a lot of them are just, here's $250,000. We're not racist. Buy our stuff, please. So I'm interested to see where the plans of action are, and if we actually ask them for plan of actions. Okay, you pledged $100,000. What does this disbursement of $100,000 look like? Where does it go to? And what are you saying? Oh, this has been effective. Or if we're really against systemic racism and we're really against systemic oppression, we may need to put another 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 in the bucket if you actually are worth that, because this just isn't a thing that you say and then do once and then it's over. It's something that you have to repeatedly go against, because the people who are fighting it and who are subjected to it are repeatedly going through it. So that's pretty much how I'm looking at it from that standpoint. I relent. Or as someone would say, I yield my time.
All right. I like it. I mean, you are right on every level. Just because you throw something at it doesn't mean it's gonna fix it. So we need to see more action, more development, and I hope we do. You have anything to say, Cor?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I just want
to. That is Corderio, and he is clapping.
Wow. So. That was strong. We're keeping it in the gaming realm with this subject. So for me, I'm just gonna say on all levels, I agree. It's one thing to take action in something. It's another to throw money at it, especially when it makes you look good. It's just like those can be PR things. Those can be subtle things. Hey, we did our part. We paid to not be racist. So, yeah, we're good over here. So I agree completely 100%. A lot of things I look at when I just see like issues of this nature, and it's like donations being made. I'm like, being made where, to whom? Yeah. How does the money get distributed?
Yeah.
What does it help? Where does the cause go to? It's like you can't just be like, oh, these kids are crippled. All right, I give the money. Enjoy. Like, like where does that money go to? Where programs will help those children? Like how's it being done? So 100% agree. Well put, my good man.
Thanks. And then just to add quickly, there's also certain things like if you assess or analyze the verbiage of things like such and such brand pledges, okay, well, you can pledge, but when is that money actually going to be spent and where is it going? Because you can say I pledged $10 million. Okay, you can say I pledged $10 million in the year 2065. We don't.
Kind of like
what does that
kind of like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah, you just yell it and you declared it. Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Cory?
Yeah. So Niantic, I feel like out of all the companies, they really push forward an initiative that seems like it's going to make a difference, which is very nice to hear. A lot of these other companies, though, it feels a little bit disingenuous. This isn't the first unlawful killing. And the previous ones, there's been no outcry from any of these companies. It was only when the riots started happening and people said, we can't take this anymore, that the companies are like, hey, we're on your side. So yes, it's nice, but like you guys have pointed out, we need to see this over many, many years, not just a one-time, hey, we're not racist, you know? And maybe it's not their responsibility, but, you know, you're a company, you have customers, you got to do it, you know?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. We kind of talked about before, which I'll bring up. You know, what kind of social responsibility does a corporation have to the public? There's a question there, but apparently is that they have some when they put out statements. So
Right.
if you're going to thrust yourself into that arena because you're afraid people may think you're racist, then you have to make sure that you have to understand what you're getting into and what that means. And the reason we kind of touched on this before in previous conversations, but part of the reason that I think we're all in agreement that it's kind of vapid and useless is because of what happened last year, 2019, with Blitzchung, Activision Blizzard, and the whole Hong Kong protest thing.
Quiet.
And that's within the realm of actual video games. The George Floyd incident happened outside the realm of video games. Blitzchung said, what was it? Hong Kong, the revolution of our lives or of our times. He said that, during a live stream and got, his prize money taken away, got banned. I think the two announcers that were talking with him got fired. This all happened, because of the protests and them censoring them, allowing that censorship to happen. Well, I don't know if people are really aware of what's going on in Hong Kong or what's been going on there in Hong Kong since 2014. If you haven't, I implore you to research and get educated on that, as well as issues of systemic racism and oppression that are happening in America. But they were quiet then too, both them and the media. The video games media, it's interesting too, because they really like to pick and choose who they're criticizing. They reported that stuff, but they didn't take decisive stands against that stuff. You can go on Kotaku right now. The editor-in-chief wrote a statement about them supporting Black Lives Matter. But their then editor-in-chief, whoever it was, or their staff writers, whoever it was, they've lost a lot since then, didn't say anything about standing with the Hong Kong protesters or with Blitzchung and objecting to censorship. And so the fact that the games media, in addition to all these different gaming industry developers and publishers, were quiet in that, it shows that it's hypocrisy, because they want the mobile game audience that's present in China, and they don't want to get on the bad side of them. So,
I mean, it's very simple. They have a chart. Will we make money by helping this cause? We will. Do it. Will we lose money? Don't do it. That's as simple as that. Hong Kong, they were going to lose money. They were going to lose all that business from China because China would have banned companies.
Yeah.
And they're going to make money by doing this. Even with all those donations, they're looked at as good guys, which, some of these guys probably do have, they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. Maybe, but they're going to make money off this no matter what. They're going to look like good guys.
Yeah, and it's less of a risk than they think, because I would just remind people of what Nike did with the Colin Kaepernick thing, stand for something even if it means losing everything, that Nike actually gained market share after they said they were going to support Colin Kaepernick in their ad campaign. They gained market share. They gained advertising value they didn't have to spend just by declaring and saying that. So it's not a money-losing proposition here in America. It maybe is to stand up to oppression in other places, but if you aren't standing up for oppression when it doesn't suit you, then what really is your principle at all? That's pretty much it for me, though.